Hey everybody, I'm back with another scrapbook layout in my Documenting Magic series. I know it has been a while. It's been a few months. Had some things come up in the life. I bought a house, I moved, I did everything in between. And so now I'm ready to get back to my Disney album, mainly because we're planning another trip for 2020 and I want to get this one done. And I know a lot of you tuned in to see this album come together. So my family and I went to Disney World last spring. This was my spouse and I's first time going to Disney World. We've been to Disneyland, and this was my daughter's first time ever doing any type of Disney park. So we're really excited. We saved for 18 months for this trip, and it was spectacular. So what I want to do with this album is I want to tell the story in chronological order. So the things that we did each day, starting with our travel day, our kickoff dinner, and then our time at the parks, and then wrapping up the vacation. Now, because I have a lot of photos and a lot of things that I want to share, I'm going to do an album that's a combination of a lot of different types of scrapbooking layouts. So 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11. I'm going to do traditional with pocket, just pocket pages. So there's going to be some variation. I'm going to give you a complete album walkthrough when I'm done with this project. So what I'm doing is I'm starting out this layout with an 8.5 by 11 spread, and I'm using one focal point photo, which is going to be my family and I in our car, all loaded up with our stuff on our way to Florida, which, by the way, we did drive to Florida, and that's something I will never do again. We are definitely going to fly early in the morning, fly so we can get there and be able to spend as much time as we possibly can at the parks, because this trip is magical and I absolutely love Disney. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so adding some washi tape to the bottom. I believe those are both a Say Cheese collection washi tape, but I cannot be certain. And at the top, of course, I have the band of pattern paper. So I have a great anchor for the top and the bottom. It doesn't look like my stuff's about to fall off the page. Next up, let's get the photo situated. So I have a 4x6 photo. And I'm adding some fun foam to that because I want to add just a tiny bit of dimension. I also have some pocket cards that I've layered behind the photo, one that has the star die cuts, and then of course the other one that has some journaling with a blue background. On my photo is a little boo-boo. It's a sticker that got stuck. I actually prepared this layout, the design of this layout last year, and this is the first time that I filmed it. So I couldn't remember what exactly or how I wanted to design this, and then I noticed when I pulled out my elements that the sticker was stuck to the photo. So I'm going to show you how I cover that up in a second. So to the left-hand side, I'm going to put a little stack of luggage. This is a cute little sticker that's from one of the Say Cheese collections. I think I mentioned I use Say Cheese for this entire project, and I'll post links down to the products, all available products down below in the description box, as well as on the Victoria Marie blog. I put that little viewfinder die cut. That's a gold foiled element, and it just adds a lot of fun to the layout. Now I'm going to attempt to cover up this sticker. So I'm going to take a die cut that says Say Cheese. I'm looking around there for my adhesive. I'm going to try to cover this up as best as I can. And you know what? I was just too lazy to reprint the photo. So if you find a workaround that doesn't require a whole lot of work, then go for it. I'm also going to add a little banner, and that little banner says pack your bags. I have a wood veneer car. I want to say that is from my stash, and I'm going to put it there in the middle of the photo. I have no problem putting stuff on top of my photos. I'm going to shop it around a little bit just to make sure, but it'll eventually stay there. At the top, I add a little a banner rather, with a camera and a little heart in the middle, and then also the other piece of that little viewfinder die cut that I had split in two so that I can use on opposite parts of that photo layer. Next up, I have a black and white frame that's from one of the Say Cheese 2 or Say Cheese 1 or Say Cheese 2 collection, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and get that trimmed up. Not trimmed up, I'm going to back that with some vellum paper. Good grief, Victoria. I'm going to get my life together here as I'm narrating. So I'm adding some vellum to the back of that frame, mainly because I'm going to pop something in the middle of the frame here in a second. I'm going to put that there to the bottom right, towards the side of the photo cluster. I need to pop up the bottom part of that frame because, of course, the photo is popped up on some fun foam. So I'm going to do the same to the bottom of the frame so that it's nice and even with the height of the photo. Next up, I'm going to add a little castle icon, and it is an epoxy piece, and it was a clip. It had like a paper clip type deal on the back. I took that off, and I'm just going to use it as a regular embellishment. I'm not really good at using clips and things on layouts. They just look weird to me. So I take the backs off and use the elements as embellishments. So I'm going to pop that right there in the middle. That adds a really nice texture to the layout. And plus, the castle is so iconic for Disney World and Disneyland. And it was probably one of my favorite things at Magic Kingdom. And we also got to eat breakfast at Cinderella Castle. That's what it's called at Disney World in Florida. And so I'll tell you all about that when I get to that story. So I'm going to go ahead and commit to that little card. I'm going to place it right there, layering that on top of that die cut. Next up, going to work on the title. The title is going to read Magical Adventure, and for this I pulled some thickers from my stash. I'm also going to use a stamp set from Echo Park. It is also Disney themed. No, I'm sorry, not Echo Park. I'm going to use a stamp set from Kelly Perky by Hero Arts, and that's also Disney themed. So here's that stamp set. It's one of my favorites. This was gifted to me from one of my scrappy buddies at the Victoria Marie Scrapbook Retreat last year. So I'm going to go ahead and get the stamp positioned, and of course I put the title down and I take it up because I need to have some space to actually stamp the word magical so that it appears above the word adventure. So I'm going to go ahead and get that stamped on. I love the black and white elements of these collections. I believe there is a new collection that's out as well, Say Cheese 4, I want to say. I'm going to definitely check that out. I don't need any more elements, but I'm really super tempted to buy some. So there we go. I have the title all set. I also added a cluster of die cuts next to the castle above the right-hand side of the title. That's just a heart die cut and a star die cut. I felt that I needed some yellow at the end of this layout, so at the bottom rather, and so I added a label that says "Here we go." And then I also felt I needed one more element there to the left-hand side on top of that little suitcase stack. So I'm going to add a die cut heart. And to finish it off, I grabbed these epoxy buttons. I'm going to choose the one that has the blue background rather, with the camera, and that mimics that tab that's there at the top, or banner that's at the top. So the 8.5 by 11 spread's done. Now I'm going to call my attention to the two pocket pages. Now these measure 6 by 12, and as I mentioned earlier, I like to have different sized layouts in my scrapbook albums. I think it lends a lot to making the album very interesting. So first up, I'm going to work on a little embellishment cluster. I'm going to take a wood veneer heart from my stash. No, actually, that came from one of the wood veneer collections for the Say Cheese collection. I took some red glitter embossing powder and just added that to that wood veneer with some embossing ink. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the outside of the pocket, which I have no problem doing. I think it's just a really fun element, adds a lot of texture and something for people to touch and feel and kind of have that experience as they're looking through my album, and I don't worry about it being manhandled at all. Then I'm going to add these wood veneer state shapes here. There's one for Texas and one for Florida. And in between all of those, I'm going to stamp a castle image from a stamp set from Echo Park. It's all, again, Disney inspired. So here we go. Love, love, love the stamp set. And so I'm trying to decide, do I want to use text? But there's already text on the card. Nope, I'm going to go ahead and go with the castle because it's my favorite. Now, a lot of the pocket cards in the Say Cheese collections as well as the Echo Park collections have some detailing on them already, beautiful font designs, beautiful element designs. So you don't really have to do a whole lot of embellishing. A Disney album, this project in particular, is massive, particularly if it's your first time going because, of course, you take tons and tons of photos. So pick and choose how much time you want to spend on the design elements. Of course, focus on the story. I know there's going to be certain points in this project where I'm not going to want to do a whole lot of designing. I just want to get the story down. And then some parts where I will want to do a lot of designing. But I really like the fact that I have elements that have these gorgeous designs on them. So when I don't feel like embellishing a whole lot, I don't have to worry about it and it doesn't look plain. So for instance, with that pocket card, it has that faux washi tape and the heart and the stitching at the top. I didn't do that. It already came that way. And so I added just a few more elements, stamped my castle, and I'm all done. So there is that spread completed. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. Again, same thing. I have this tag, this pocket card. I'm going to go ahead and pop up the tag. It has some stitching down the middle. It came like that. I did not do that. Again, working smart, not hard, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pop that up on that journaling card. There's also a die cut circle that says, "What a bunch of characters." And I also have another pocket card that says "Just being goofy" and some photos of us acting silly because, of course, you know, driving long distances can be a little boring sometimes, so you have to spice it up just a tiny bit. I had another one of those epoxy dots. Those are actually metal framed, and then also some enamel dots as well, just to add some texture and some interest there. I'm counting my elements to see if I have an odd number of elements, and I do. And that's very pleasing to the eye. I'm all done. I'm showing you where the stitching is. And so that side's done, and there's some journaling at the bottom that I just typed up on the pocket in my computer. Alrighty, so next up, I have this journaling card where I talk about us getting into Daphne, Alabama. We're settling into our hotel. My daughter loves staying in hotels. I also talk about our excitement as we are resting so we can drive into Florida the following day. I just add a label that says a magical vacation, again from one of the Say Cheese 1 or 2 collections, and then another label that says let's ride. And then I'm going to add just this really cute gold star, and that's all I need for that particular card. And then I have this pocket card here at the bottom, and what I did was I trimmed a piece of this pattern paper down to 4x6. And I also have this element that I cut from one of the pattern papers. Of course, those are the stacked luggage pieces, just some continuity there with that spread. I'm going to add that to my 4x6 card that I made from the pattern paper. Of course, these elements are repeated on the 8.5 by 11 part of this spread. I'm going to offset it just a little bit. I'm going to trim it up, so it's going to make it seem like it was designed that way. This is a really good way to personalize and customize your elements on your layout. Now, these are our room keys at the Holiday Inn Express that we stayed at in Daphne, Alabama. And I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to both of those cards, stick them together. And then I'm going to add some score tape, and hopefully they will stay on nice and strong and not fall out the album. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. I love adding in these little mementos and different ephemera and memorabilia to my albums in a small way, and that's a good way to do it. And with that, I'm going to call this spread done. Magical adventure ready to be put into my album. I love all the layering and the colors, this collection. Oh my God, guys, I love this collection so much. Again, the links to available products are down in the description box below, also on the Victoria Marie blog. Here is the gorgeous 6x12 pockets. And of course, this allows me, well, one, I get the benefit of not only doing a traditional layout, but also a pocket layout, and to be able to extend my story across the layout so that when either myself or somebody else is looking at this album, they can really be engaged with the story, the photos, and the elements. And that's kind of how I like to design my layouts. Now, on the back of this one, all I have are photos and just one pocket card. Now, the pocket card was already pre-designed, and all I did was I typed up my journaling on vellum, and then I added it to the pocket card. So the journaling says, got up and dressed at 9 a.m., ate a yummy complimentary breakfast, got on the road at 10 a.m., listened to more Disney music, and hit traffic, which we did, and we were almost late to our reservation at Chef Mickey's for our kickoff dinner. And I will share that story. That's actually going to come up next weekend when I post another video for this series. To see stills of this layout, head on over to the Victoria Marie blog. Again, the products that I use, all available products that I use for this project, are down in the description box below. And this video was made possible in part by the Victoria Marie Scrap Boss patrons. If you are interested in supporting Victoria Marie Designs on Patreon, make sure you check it out. The link is posted down below. And as always, be sure to subscribe to this channel. And when you do, click the bell indicator. That way you'll be notified each and every time a new video is posted here to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel.